Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of the Diamond Diaries, a podcast about women in baseball, hosted by a woman in baseball, yours truly, Chelsea Raymer. How have you been? How's everything been as a family
Good.
member?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I think that the adjustment from 0 to 1 is obviously the biggest adjustment. So
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm tired and yeah, there's like some things that need to be figured out still, but like we're good. I love being on maternity leave.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. And Kaylee, welcome to the Diamond Diaries podcast. I'm so excited you're here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here too. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, you've been such a big inspiration to me because I remember the Sports Passport, the blog, and then your Instagram account. I remember following it a few years ago, and then I decided that I kind of wanted to do something similar. So it definitely you've inspired me to kind of do something similar as well. So I'm super excited to chat with you about it.
I love that. That's so cool.
First, I would love to know more though about where you are from and then how sports were part of your life growing up.
Yeah, so I am originally from Washington State, and I grew up playing basketball, soccer, volleyball, basically everything under the sun. But where my love of baseball came in was watching my dad and brother play. My brother's a few years older than me, and he played on a ton of travel teams. And so basically every summer we were somewhere else for a different tournament. And so I was making up my own fun while he was playing and we were traveling around. And then I just kind of fell in love with being at the ballpark. When I was going to school, I went to community college for the first 2 years. So I lived at home and I was working for our local minor league team. And I just found that some days when I was having bad days, I felt so much better when I was at the ballpark. Like it just eased that any anxiety I had. So from there, it kind of just became like a bigger passion and something that I wanted to pursue long term.
Nice. And then so you grew up a Mariners fan, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So how was it watching them and then, everything they achieved this year?
It, what a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I was due with my second child literally any day, and when they were in the playoffs, and I was like, My body does not need this anxiety right now." But it was also like so much fun to watch because it was such a fun team, and obviously it didn't end the way that we wanted it to. But to go further than any Mariners team has gone was so exciting, and obviously that 15 inning game was like so much anxiety and being on the East Coast, I was up until like I don't remember like 2 or 3 a.m. Because I think the game ended at 1 a.m. our time, and then I was just on such a high that I couldn't go to sleep. I was on Instagram like liking every post, reposting everything, and just like reliving that moment.
No, so I grew up a Red Sox fan, but I trying to watch that on the East Coast as well. That was so tough. Like I was rooting for the Mariners so badly, but I also would wake up on my couch at like 3 in the morning and then relocate to my bed because I would fall asleep at some point and have to check social media to see who won because I didn't
Yeah.
make it to the end.
And it's funny because I put my daughter to bed that night, and when I was putting her to bed, they scored when I was in her room. And so I kept going back and forth into her room, like with this little suspicion that every time they would go back there, or I would go back there, they scored. It happened twice. And so when they actually won the game, I was back there. And
Oh my God.
my TV was delayed and I was listening to it on the radio.
Yeah.
And I ran out to the TV to make sure that I could watch it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, do you remember when they kind of went on that run in the early 2000s? Were you old enough to kind of remember seeing all of that as well?
Oh, yeah. That was like, I mean, it was a peak time to be a Mariners fan anyway, but my elementary school teacher was such a big fan that she would allow us to like rewatch games, and if there was a day game, she would put it on during class. And I even posted something this last postseason. She gave us extra credit if we came up with a cheer or a chant for the Mariners. And so my friend and I did it, and she liked it so much that she sent us around the school, and we had to perform it for I think it was
Oh,
like
that's
every
so
third and fourth grade
cute.
class. So I vividly remember that time, and obviously just like the team again was so fun, and um, I wish that it hadn't taken so long to get back there, but like I'm hopeful for the future.
Yeah. Well, so since you are from Washington State, can you tell me how you made your way to Boston?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. I went to Eastern Washington University, and that was just to stay close to home, and it was um like I financially it was the best option for me. And so afterwards I kind of wanted to like expand and try something new. And I had a friend who was moving here for a boy, moving to Boston, and she was like, "Do you want to come with me?" And I was like, "Honestly, why not?" I have nothing else holding me back at that point. And then moved out here for 2 years and met my now husband, and he's from New England, so and just fell in love with Boston and New England in general. We're now in Rhode Island. So, yeah, we moved back to Seattle for a couple of years and then ended up coming back to the East Coast. So, we love it.
Oh, nice. What is one thing that you miss about the West Coast that we don't have over here?
Oh, good question. I think it's funny because there are so many similarities that you don't necessarily think about. One thing I don't love about New England summers that I do love about Washington summers is the humidity here. Like it's so bad compared to over there. And I love the sunsets and it's staying light later in the
Mhm.
summers and just being able to like be out until like 10 p.m. and enjoying that. And I think because I lived in Seattle for some time, people assume that it just rains all the time. But I mean, you got to experience it, right? Like did it rain at all while you were there?
Not really. There was one day where it was really cloudy, and I remember people telling me like the clouds feel like they're right above your head, which I kind of understand, but it was only one day because I went in September and every day was like sunny and 70s. Like I was outside, but there was maybe one day where it didn't really rain, but it was just like cloudy and kind of
Mhm.
gloomy, but I still like had so much fun. Like
Yeah, and see, I think that's kind of what it is. And people don't use umbrellas when they're walking around because we're so used to like the drizzle that happens. So I miss the summers there. And being from the east side of the state where I grew up, I lived in the desert, and so it would get to like 100 degrees in the summer, and it would just be like that perfect dry heat. So I do
yeah.
miss that part.
That's awesome. But so, okay, growing up, you played sports, you loved baseball. I thought was so cool. I saw you used to compete in pageants, and I didn't realize that you were Miss Washington in 2014. I thought that was awesome. How did you get into pageants?
Yes, so my worlds collide. So that was ultimately why I decided to stay in Washington for college because there was so much scholarship opportunity. So a lot of people don't know that the Miss America organization is a scholarship program. So no matter if you win or lose, when you compete, you win scholarship dollars. They actually joke that like the more you lose, the more you win because you keep coming back. And once you win a state title, like you can no longer compete because you've already competed at Miss America. So it actually that was what initially drew me in. And then also there's like a huge community service aspect of it. And you have to have a platform. And so mine was working with youth through sports, like through after school activities and just the empowerment that youth sports can have. And so that's what drew me in, and then it kept me going because of like the scholarship opportunities and the connections that I made. And it's funny because I look back and it's been 11 years now since I was Miss Washington, but I still have those connections today. And now that the Seahawks are doing well, I'm like reminiscing on when I was Miss Washington. I got to go to the Super Bowl, and that was like such a, and again, even though they lost to the New England Patriots, it was such an incredible trip. And so I'm hopeful that they can do it again.
So, how old were you when you started competing, and then how many years did you compete for?
I was 20 when I started competing. There's opportunity to start a lot younger than that, but so maybe I was 19 and then I competed for 3 years and on the third try is when I won Miss Washington.
Oh, that's so cool. Were you up against a lot of girls that had been competing their entire lives?
Yes, yeah. So Washington is a very competitive state, and there were girls that made the top 10 that had been competing since they were, I don't know, young teenagers, preteens.
Oh my gosh, that seems really kind of scary. But when you did win Miss Washington, what were kind of your responsibilities that you held with that role?
So just traveling the state and speaking to schools was basically number one. And then we had a lot of partners throughout the state, specifically on the west side of the state, like in Seattle. And so doing events for them. And that's how like you make the most connections. And um, so yeah, it just like took me all around the state, which was incredible. And being able to speak, I think I spoke at like 50 different schools around the state.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what was your talent? What did you do for the talent portion?
I sang.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know you could sing. That's so cool.
Well, it's funny because I grew up as an athlete. I think when I told my parents that I wanted to do the pageant, they were like, I'm sorry, what? Like, come again? Um, because I had been in choir and I liked singing, but it was never like I was always so afraid to be on stage. So that when I told them, they were like, you know, you have to be up there by yourself, right?" But then I just kind of grew into it and found songs that I enjoyed singing. So I don't necessarily like do it anymore. I think a bucket list item for me is to sing the national anthem at a minor league field.
Okay.
So we'll see if that happens though.
I was saying maybe I can make it happen in Portland. That would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be a good place to do it too.
What do you miss most about competing?
The friendships, like as cliche as that sounds, like my one of my very, very best friends, and she was the maid of honor in my wedding. Like that's we found each other through pageant. So
Oh, and
yeah.
then what would you say is like the biggest stereotype or maybe something people don't realize about pageants? I feel like they see like the toddlers and tiaras and like all
Hmm.
these things. And as someone who doesn't compete in pageants, I'm sure there's so much more that goes on. What would you say is there's some, what is there that people don't realize about competing in pageants?
I think the cliches of it all, like that women are so catty and that we are in it for the presentation of it all and just to be pretty and on stage. When really like I said, the friendships that come out of it are incredible. And when I went to Miss America competing against those women, like they are honest to God, some of the most knowledgeable, driven, incredible women that I've ever met in my entire life. So like there's just a lot of like-mindedness and a lot of like these are the next leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
So
awesome. Did a lot of your worlds collide between like going and speaking and building all these connections and then working, back in baseball?
I think so. Like I said, just like the connections in general. And it was able to connect me. Um, that's actually how I got my job working for the Mariners. I was what's called a navigator for the Mariners, and it's like kind of their promotions team. Like at one point, I was dressing up as a hot dog during the game. So, but I actually got that job by the connections that I made through Miss Washington.
So what was it like working for the team that you grew up watching and being there at the stadium and seeing all the behind the scenes action?
I am so biased, but I love what is now T-Mobile Park. So being able to go there on just like a sunny day when the roof was open, is was like I said, it was like therapeutic almost. And being able to be a part of the team was so much fun. And I now work part-time for the Red Sox, and like I it feels like a family when you're there. And I don't know if every team gets to say that. Um, I- so I feel very lucky.
Well, I was going to ask how you kind of transitioned into that role with the Red Sox and came about that opportunity.
So they were on paper, they were very similar roles. Like they were both fan facing, and you were there to make sure that the fans were having a good time. Um, a little less, for lack of a better word, like gimmicky at the Red Sox. Like you're truly there to make sure that if it's someone's first time at Fenway or 50th time at Fenway, that they're feel like they're taken care of. And I love that. Like I feel like it's like the Disneyland of ballparks when you're at Fenway because for most people, for some people, I should say, it's like a dream to be there at least once in their life. And so the fact that I get to be there so often during the summer and making those dreams come true, I feel like I'm at Disneyland every day.
Is there a question you get asked the most from fans while you're working?
Good question. I think the question that I love to answer is just like, what do I need to do? I have 24 hours uh, that I'm
Oh,
in
okay.
Boston, or like it's my first time to Fenway. What do I need to know? Just because it is like a living museum and there is so
Mhm.
much to see. And when it's jam-packed with people, you can miss so much. Like for example, I love the original ticket booths that are near Gate A, which is the home plate gate. They've now been transformed into like um, a commemorative year. So the few years that we've won the World Series, there's memorabilia from those years. There's a champagne bottle, and you can learn about the different years in history that made the Red Sox so special. Um, and that is actually how I kind of started the sports passport because I was asking myself when I was going to ballparks, like, what is it? I'm here for one game. What is it that I need to know? And back in 2015, when this all started, I wasn't able to find those answers. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to answer myself.
Oh, that's great though. I love that. That kind of brings me to my next point because I was going to ask you what kind of made you want to start the platform. And then I love the name. How did you come up with the name?
So thank you. My mom and I were, my parents live in Arizona now, and my mom and I were moving all of my stuff from Washington down to their house in Arizona. And on the way, we stopped at every California ballpark. And so that's really when the idea came to me because, like I said, we were only there for one game, and I'll never forget, like, I love the athletics, but it was near the end of the season, and I was asking them, like, where's your mascot? What is the best thing to eat here? And they were like, actually, he doesn't work on Wednesdays, the mascot. I was like,
I feel like it would
oh,
normally be a requirement that if there's a
yeah.
sporting event or at least a Major League Baseball game that the mascot is there.
Yeah, I don't know if they were like pulling my leg, but I did not see them there. So,
Oh,
that's when I was really starting to like ask questions and I felt like I couldn't be the only one that was like asking them.
yeah.
So from there, I started a blog, and at first it was called 90 Feet from Home,
Oh, that's
um,
cute too.
which I still love. And the idea was there's only 90 feet that separate you from home plate, third base to home plate. And like it's in the unknown that makes the adventure so great. And so I kind of took that and ran with it when I was doing my master's degree. And then I don't really know how the sports passport, I think I was just like using a play on words and like the
Mhm.
word sport is in passport. So um, I felt like that was more overarching because I wanted to focus on more than just baseball at times. So made it more encompassing of all sports.
Nice. So, how have you seen the platform evolve since you first started?
Um, hmm. I mean, it's kind of had to evolve just because it did start with blogging and then social media like took off. And I wanted it to be more for the fans. And I think over the years it's become more of me sharing me. And that's something that I hope to continue. Uh, and I would love to just continue building like a community. Um, so yeah, I'm not sure if that really answers your
No, I
question.
thought that was a good question, or I mean, a good answer. Because I mean, it's kind of however you've seen it like grow and change and everything like
Yeah.
that. That's kind of what I meant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I think because blogging was so, it felt, I mean, it was so new and like no one really could see how, TikTok and Instagram was going to blow up. But I think now social media feels more social, more
Mhm.
personal.
Yeah.
Like you can get to know the person a little bit more. So I hope that I'm able to like share more of myself that way too.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then, so you do travel a lot. Obviously, you go to all these different ballparks. How do you go about picking which stadium you want to visit next?
Okay, good question. A lot of times it's been based on what we have planned for that year already. So, for example, we went to a wedding in Texas a
Mhm.
couple years ago, and that was my first time to Texas. And so we were able to tack on a Rangers game, and they were playing the Mariners. So that was like awesome. But last year, my husband and I did this thing where we have little mini baseball helmets, and we chose where we are going based on what was pulled out of the bucket. And we're actually picking our trip today. So
Oh, that's so exciting.
TBD on where we're gonna go this year, but
Oh, that's so fun. Well, so what has been your favorite ballpark, MLB ballpark so far?
I was thinking about this the other day because I am so biased in terms of like Fenway is so classic and there's nothing like it left. There's obviously like its quirks, but it's Fenway. And then I love being in Seattle and being by the sound and just I think they have such good ballpark food and like the atmosphere is so fun. A thing about the Mariners, a quick side note, is like we've had to make it fun. We've had to just like find our own like entertainment because for so long the team wasn't very good, right? So it's like not like these other teams who are good back to back to back. Anyway, other than that, we went to St. Louis this last summer and I was very pleasantly surprised by Busch Stadium. Like it feels old and classic. It was 1,000 degrees outside, but I think other than that, like I think it is probably one of my favorites that I've been to.
And then I saw, okay, you did Kaufman as well, right?
Hmm.
You like that one too? That's the one I didn't go to when I was living in Missouri, and I was so filled with regret. Like I got to go to Busch Stadium with my journalism school, but I was so bummed when I left Missouri, and I was like, I cannot believe I did not go to a Royals game.
I didn't realize how close they were, which is why we
Yeah.
were able to tack it on. Yeah, it was fun. It got rained out the day that we were supposed to go to the game. So we actually were able to go back the next day when they played it. But we could only stay until first pitch, like because we had tickets to the game in St. Louis and that was kind of our first priority. So
Mhm.
we kind of walked around, we got food, we saw warm-ups, and then we had to leave. So I
Oh,
feel like I really didn't get the full experience.
okay.
And it's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right next to Arrowhead, but
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like I need to go back and give it another chance.
Yeah, no, that's on my bucket list. I need to go back to like, well, my alma mater, but then also like go to Kaufman during baseball season. Do you have a favorite minor league part that you've been to?
Hmm. I there's just something about minor league teams in general, like talk about the community behind it. Like I love that part of it. So I feel like there's a lot of like I loved working for the Spokane Indians because the stadium itself is like beautiful and the sunsets are gorgeous, but like the team and family and fans behind it like make it what it is. Um so I'm trying to think, like I love going to Portland. That's always fun.
Mhm.
Worcester is gorgeous and brand new and has the wall, the blue wall. I don't know if it has an official name or not, but
I don't know either.
but I'm trying to think of other ones that I've been to. We went to the Fisher Cats and we did the hotel where we got
Hmm.
to stay in the hotel and watch the game from there. So it's hard to choose, but oh, actually, we went to oh, what's it called? What's it called? Frisco Rough
Oh
Riders.
yeah.
And we did the pool and like
Oh,
that
that's
was such a
awesome.
unique experience.
Okay, I was
Um
telling someone the other day that so I grew up 20 minutes from the Frisco Rough Riders and I didn't necessarily go a lot, but that was another like regret. Like living in Texas, I'm like, why didn't I do the pool? Like it's something
yeah.
I want to try so badly, and I can only go home really during December. And I'm like, well, it's Texas version of cold, so like the pool's not open.
Oh.
But
Okay,
that's
that
so
makes sense.
cool.
Yeah, it was cold and windy the day we did it, but we were like, we got to try it.
Um, what is the coolest food item you've ever consumed at a ballpark?
Mm. So I feel like the Mariners I feel like they're becoming more popular with their food items. They had for the All-Star game, they had this like caviar crab sandwich. match. And it sounds so bougie, and it was, but it was genuinely one of the best things I've ever eaten, like, period. And I wish they would have put it on the menu full time.
And then, kind of another favorite, my last question about your favorites. You share a lot of different minor league promotions and everything. Do you have one that so far has been your favorite?
Mm. I There's been so many good ones. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me think real quick. I love when cities like embrace their, like, for example, like the whoopie pies and stuff, like,
Mhm.
and when you are able to do something off of that, like, I love stuff like that. I love when teams can fully embrace like fandoms, like Star Wars, for example, or one that I didn't realize until this year is like Hello Kitty and how many fans love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I think the
Um,
Dodgers do a really big Hello Kitty night, and I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
I would go. I loved Hello Kitty as a kid, so I was like,
yeah,
that's so genius. Like, I would go to something like that.
right? And I think that more and more MLB teams are doing it, but yeah, I don't know. I love seeing what, like, crazy cool things I feel like minor league teams are like at the helm of driving
Yeah.
um the theme nights and the promos. So it's always fun to see. I'm excited to see what is come up with this year.
So one thing I love too about your platform is you advocate so much for women's sports and women in sports. What is it like now getting to share, sports with your own daughters, especially now with women's sports, on the rise?
I think that's why I I mean, as a woman athlete, like, there's that part of it, and like seeing yourself in these women today, knowing that there's like professional teams. But I think why at this point in my life I am advocating so heavily for women is because now I have two daughters,
Mhm.
and being able to take my daughter to her first professional hockey game and have it be a women's hockey game, like, oh, I sat there and I watched her and I teared up because th like, that's what it's all about. Like, she should see herself represented. And I love it now because we watch hockey on TV or we watch golf, and if we watch golf, for example, she's like, "But where are the women golfers? Where are the girl golfers?" And that would never have been a question in my head when I was her age.
Mhm.
Like, there of course was women golfers, but to know that there's leagues now for women, it's so exciting to be a part of, like, the growth that's happening.
Since you do work in sports and you also have a family, what advice do you have for women who are looking to do the same?
Mm. There, there's so many opportunities for women in general. And I think that something that gets overshadowed is there's so many opportunities for families to travel and see new things, especially because ballparks are becoming a little more inclusive that way, in terms of like having nursing rooms or having family specific areas. Like, for example, Fenway has like the alcohol-free area for families. So I think if you have a passion for it, just go for it, which I know sounds easier said than done, but I think there needs to be more family and women um, in the, I would say, like, in the creator space. Now, in terms of like women working in sports, there's always been those incredible women who work behind the scenes, and it's one of those things where it's like, goes back to that quote that's like, if you're makes you happy and you're passionate about it, then you're not, quote unquote, working a day in your life. And so you just make it work. Like, my husband has his hobbies, and I would say that like working in sports is my hobby.
So, do you have any goals for your platform, the Sports Passport, in the future?
Yes, I would love to continue to build like a community, and I would love to host like meetups whenever I went to a new ballpark, like to be able to establish a community and be able to like say, "Hey, I'm going to this game and I would love to connect with like-minded women, like meet me there." I think that's like my biggest goal with the platform.
Oh, that's awesome. And then for my final question, I hope it doesn't sound like too repetitive, but what advice do you have for women who want to start a platform like this, but maybe they just don't know where to start?
Do it. Just do it. Like like you said, mine. I actually think back to like how this all got started, and um the travel part of it was part of my thesis for my master's. And so it was what really pushed me. But it's evolved so much from there. And so if you have an idea, like just go for it because somebody else could be thinking about it and do it before you, but there's always room for more. So just do it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. That's all the questions I have, unless you have anything you want to add.
Uh no, just thanks for having me. I'm so
Yeah.
excited that you're doing this.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll chat again soon. XOXO, Chelsea.